Kristen Denny Chambers, clarinetist, composer, and founder of Clarinet Playground. This is video number 20 out of 40, going through all of the Études in Finger Fitness Études Book 2. This one is for Heartache. Heartache is dedicated to Ann Watson. She is currently the Professor of Clarinet at Northeastern State University in Tahlequah, Oklahoma. She's an active performer and pedagogue. She has given recitals and masterclasses throughout the United States and internationally. Ann actively performs with a number of local organizations, including the Tulsa Symphony, Tulsa Ballet, Tulsa Opera, and in 2019, she won the second clarinet E-flat position with the Signature Symphony. She has also performed with symphonies in Wichita, Kansas, and Northwest Arkansas. Ann has been nominated twice for the Circle of Excellence for her dedication to her students at NSU, and in 2011, she was awarded the prestigious President's Model the Way Award, awarded to NSU faculty for their dedication to students and the university. Watson holds degrees from West Texas A&M University, where she won the university's concerto competition at the age of 18, and Arizona State University, where she completed a doctoral of musical arts degree under the tutelage of Robert Spring. This Étude dedication for Ann is very heavy and personal. She experienced an incredible loss when her fiancé lost his life to COVID. When it came time to write this piece for her, all that I could feel was grief and devastation, along with the hope and knowledge that she would pull through this incredible challenge in her life. This Étude is not only dedicated to Ann, but also to the memory of Steve, who she once told me was her person. Even though this music is very heavy-hearted, I hope that you'll find connection and the ability to express your emotions through this music as well. Let's take a look at the music. At the bottom of each page in this book, you'll find one or two practice tips. For this one, we have plan fingerings thoughtfully. At times, the fork or side fingerings work well, but at other times, a flip may be best, and we will cover those choices here in a little bit. At the top of each page, you'll find 2 finger drills. These are really important. Make sure you're practicing them really carefully and thoughtfully, because this is what is folded directly into the Étude as the challenge. So this is the last big one where we are connecting registers or crossing the break, and where we can use right hand down to make that smoother. While right hand down can help, we also want to make sure we're using gentle finger motion. Sometimes if we get too heavy with the finger movement, we can cause a jolt in the instrument, and that can cause a bump in the sound. We also want to keep the air and the embouchure as stable as possible. So you can quite literally have all of your right hand fingers down while you play both of these drills. So for the first one, we start with B, and then A, open G, A sharp, which is the same thing as B flat, cross back to B natural, A, G, A sharp, B natural. Keep that movement really fluid, almost like giving the clarinet a little hug. We want to avoid slapping or suddenly jolting the fingers because that can cause a bump in the sound. And the second drill, very similar. Right hand down, C, B natural, A, B natural, C, B natural, A, B natural, C. Constant wind and really consistent embouchure will help to make this connection really good too. For the style and character of this Étude, we have a very slow waltz. It's heavy and sorrowful, so think of a very slow one, almost a minuet, but not quite. It still needs to have that lilt and that feeling of being in one, but on the very back side of the beat. So we want to have patience and beautiful expression. That will be key to making the character really come to life for this one. Now we'll look at measure 33, 41, and 49. So at 33, we have with movement. So that can move and kind of press forward a little bit more there. And then really milk the expression at with great emotion in that section at measure 41. And then show the intense climax in measure 51. I marked that as a mezzo forte, but really you could be a full forte at that point and really showcase that climax. For the rhythm, we're going to see pretty typical rhythms that you would find in compound meter. So we have dotted quarter notes and we have constant 16th notes like you see in the first example. Also in measure 4, we have the dotted 8/16 eighth note figure. And then in measure 17, we have the dotted eighth and then 3/16. So really the dotted eighth notes are generally the more problematic rhythm in compound meters. So subdividing can really help with that. So I'll play the beginning and subdivide as well as measure 17. I'll do subdivided first and then I'll play as written. And now for some areas of focus. We really want to take the time to plan out fingering choices in advance. So sometimes we have to use the fork, sometimes side, sometimes we need to flip-flop. So if we look at measure 1, it's sort of obvious that we're going to start with the fork B. And then we have A sharp, which is the same as B flat, and then fork, and then E, G, C, B. Now, most people say, okay, now we're going to just repeat the exact same thing, go back to the fork. But if you do that, you need to have a little lift at the end of measure 2 so that you have time to reset that fingering without having like a little sloppy sound in there. Otherwise, you can go from that B natural to the middle and then go first, which is a flip-flop, and then fork. So you have two choices there. Lift a little bit after that B natural, reset the fork. Or if you want it to be a smooth connection, you have your B natural in measure 2, then go to middle for measure 3, flip to the first, and then fork. Now we'll look at the next set of examples, measure 7, 23, and 31. We have some similar things happening here, but because of the combination of notes, the fingerings are going to be different. So if we look at measure 7, we start with F sharp, then go directly to first finger A sharp, fork for B, F natural, and then I go middle for B, because I can, and I think that's easier, and then back to thumb F, and then we land on side F sharp. Now in measure 23, we'll start with our middle finger for B, thumb for F, and then really, ideally, we need to flip-flop to the top finger for F sharp because we're going to be playing F sharp to B. We're crossing and connecting that register, and going from side and crossing to a B could sometimes be really problematic. You're going to be very tempted to want to play B, thumb F, side key F sharp because of the other patterns in the Étude, but then you'll find yourself a little bit trapped. I think that's a really hard thing to do. I think it's easier to get a clean flip-flop and then have a really secure connection to the B natural. Now in measure 31, we're going to start with that middle B again, and then thumb for E sharp, which is the same as F natural, side key for that F sharp, back to thumb for E sharp, middle for the B natural, and then we're going to go to the top finger for F sharp, and then cross over to the B, whichever side you want. Both pinkies works well, left or right side. Now we'll look at these examples at the bottom. So dynamic contrast, especially here. So measure 1, we start with mezzo piano. Then when that same motive returns in measure 9, we have a slight echo at piano. And then at 53, after the big, loud, dramatic climax and the very dramatic pause, we grab the listener and play pianissimo. So really work to set those contrasts and make them obvious. Now we'll look at some places where the finger drills are folded directly into the music. In measure 17, we have all of these break crossings featuring the second finger drill. Same thing at measure 25. And then down at 43, we have that first finger drill. So we can use our right hand down. And in places like 19, where we go to the F sharp, that's where I'll do something like this. I'll have my right hand down from the B in measure 18. I'll play my G, A, G. When I get to F sharp, I lift. Maybe I lift on the G, but I'm going to keep my right pinky planted, and that kind of helps with the security. So right after the F sharp, then I get the G and the A. So I have 2 notes worth of time to gently put that hand back in place and be ready for the B natural. All right, now let's take a look at the ending. You might think, am I really going to do this repeat 3 times? And the answer is yes. Repeats are not optional in this. If I had had the space on the page, I would have written them all out, but the space was limited and I decided to use the repeat. So with each repeat, we're progressively getting louder, more intense, more mournful, more insistent, just more everything. And then use the tenutos to really help pace. So that C natural is just kind of dig into that, lean on it, and kind of treat it differently with each repeat and really stretch it the most on the final repeat. And now for some final thoughts on this etude. Setting the tone or the mood of this piece is critical. Work to find the right balance with the pulse where it feels stuck somewhere in between a waltz and a minuet while allowing it to be flexible at the same time, especially like ends of phrases. You can really stretch there. Think about how you can represent heaviness and sorrow in your own interpretation. Can you access a time when you face these kinds of feelings? Connect with those emotions and allow this music to help you revisit and sort of hug the version of you that was struggling. Processing these emotions through music and art is very healthy. Stick around at the end of the video and enjoy a wonderful tribute to Steve. To listen to a beautiful recording of this etude and all other etudes from this book, head over to my website, clarinetplayground.com. Trevor Stewart has recorded all 40 etudes beautifully, and they are available for purchase there on my website. Feel free to join us in the Clarinet Playground group on Facebook where we play and post for each other. And head over to my website at clarinetplayground.com for more fun music and books. Thank you so much.